Hello, this is Heather Rundquist, and my presentation for this week is Why School? So the three questions I asked myself were, why do we go to school today? And history, who needs it? Why is it important to teach about the Declaration of Independence, as well as the formation of the United States Constitution? And finally, can homeschooling supersede the benefit of public education today? So hopefully by the end of this presentation, you'll see how these three questions are interrelated. Why do we go to school today? I decided to look up a few statistics and found that in 1900, 6.4% of American 17-year-olds graduated from high school. And then you might ask, what happened to the other 93.6%? They went on to every kind of career, from shopkeeper to mechanic and farmer, to even the big entrepreneurs or authors, politicians, including engineers, architects, and even lawyers. So times changed, though. By 1960, we had 60% of American youngsters graduating from high school, but the rest were all called dropouts or losers. And then now, in 2011, 2012, they found that 81% were graduating on time, and the dropout rate was only about 7% in 2013. So we definitely have so many more of our children going to school, but that still doesn't really answer the question of why. Jefferson had very noble ideals, and he believed that education was the best means to prevent political tyranny and to secure happiness through just laws. Horace Mann hoped that education would provide the means to solve the difficult problems of political and economical law, and could be used as a means of removing poverty and securing abundance. Now we go to school for the best advantage with your employment, right? If you don't have a degree, you can't get a job or a good paying one. So regular attendance at school gives you the best possible start in life and prepares you for the future. The skills and knowledge that you learn at school will help you now and in later life as you start work. At least I think that's why we go to school. When I looked at other articles, one of them said, for the most part, your entire childhood is spent in school. If you have to be there and federal law says that you do, you might as well have a great time. Here are some of the top 5 reasons to go to school. Number 5, there's a perfect attendance award. Number 4, what about friends? Number 3, we've got spirit. Yes, we do. Number 2, only number 2, you're getting prepared for life. But the number 1 reason was it's so much fun. And that's on getschool.com. I was appalled. That's certainly not why I'm sending my children to school. So history, who needs it? Why is it important to teach about the Declaration of Independence as well as the formation of the United States Constitution? And I think the best answer to this came from a classmate, Sadie Willardson. She said, I love the United States and I love learning about the history that our great country has. The reason it is so important for kids to know about these 2 documents is because these are the reasons why our citizens are free and why we have the rights that we do. Without these, we wouldn't be the nation that we are today. By learning how these documents came to be, it helps kids learn why they are so important and why the leaders of our country wanted to make them in the first place. On the BYU Idaho website for the catalog of the American Foundations class, it said that a better understanding of the political, economic, and cultural ideals and institutions can help explain the successes and limitations of the United States, especially right now as we're dealing with a refugee crisis. But the history of the United States holds lessons for people everywhere, and hopefully we can go back to some of those main ideals and remember why they were set in the first place, and not get caught up in propaganda and have laws be based on opinion rather than based on our rights. And so then I wanted to go to my final question was, can homeschooling supersede the benefit of public education today? For me, that's always been a big question. Should I homeschool my students or keep them in public school? Are they getting what they need? And again, Paul Goodman said that there is no future for those without the school diploma. So it's always been something I know that my children need, but homeschooling can be beneficial for some parents and for some students. Those who homeschool have to obtain their education somewhere, And that education has to go beyond the high school level for the homeschool child to be fully educated. We've seen that. We know that. So it kind of comes down to, what's your motivation? Why do you want to homeschool? And I thought about the learning environment, why my kids maybe have a hard time in school if they're having problems with friends or with teachers or things not going right. We have to address those issues before they can be comfortable to learn. And so I found an article that said the learning environments in which we place students also profoundly influence their ability to learn. As Abraham Maslow observed long ago, human motivation is hierarchical. Basic needs must be satisfied before we strive for higher needs. Learning, as it turns out, falls well down the list of human needs. To learn, our more basic needs of food, safety, and acceptance must be met first. So if we plunge directly into teaching and skip past these basic human needs, students who feel unsafe or emotionally insecure will be unlikely to learn. And so I've thought about how children in the public education right now sometimes may feel like they're in a cookie cutter kind of situation. And we look at ways to improve teaching in order to take care of that. But as I found, improving teaching quality only goes so far to improve achievement if we do not, at the same time, motivate students to learn. And that's kind of an interesting situation, because Sugatra Mitra found with his School in the Cloud that children were able to learn and explore from one another and be able to go well beyond expected standards for their age, because they had a desire to learn. Nobody had to teach them that. And so maybe it's the way we're going about it in public education. In fact, I love this quote that the Nigerian immigrant goes straight to the library. A common idea held by some African Americans about public school is that they are pushed away from learning and that it's a bad idea. However, a Nigerian immigrant will treasure learning and often reach a high level of education and social status, even with a poor understanding of spoken English. That's really something to think about. So I hope that this presentation this week has helped you to think about why we're in school, why we're learning the things that we learn, and being able to really get the most benefit for you out of your schooling experience, whether you do it through homeschool or through a traditional public school. Thank you very much and have a great week. Bye.